What is up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Final Fantasy VII Remake is right around the corner. I can't believe it. I am so excited and I really wanted to do a video discussing some of the brand new information that we got from Square Enix at their E3 conference. Final Fantasy VII came out all the way back in '97. I can't believe it actually that it is that old. I was just a kid when I originally played Final Fantasy VII. Funnily enough though, I didn't play it when it first came out. I played Final Fantasy VIII first and then I went back because I fell in love with Final Fantasy VIII. So I went back to Final Fantasy VII and I was just absolutely blown away by that game. I was also left a little bit confused as well because the story, I don't know, when you're a kid and then you play a game like that where the story is so intense, yeah, I was left a little bit confused. So what is Final Fantasy VII? Final Fantasy VII is an RPG that follows the story of Cloud, Tifa, Aeris, Barret, Yuffie, Vincent, Red 13, Cid, and of course, Cat Sith, as they try to save the planet from Sephiroth and his deadly meteor spell. There's of course a lot more to it than that, but I really don't want to spoil the story of Final Fantasy VII in this video in case you guys haven't played it yourself. I would highly recommend that you do go and play it. It's amazing, and I think the remake, it's gonna slightly differ from the original game as well, so it's still definitely worth playing the original. Final Fantasy VII is literally one of the most loved in the series of Final Fantasy, so it's no surprise to me that that one is the one that's getting remade. Now, Final Fantasy VII, the remake, was initially announced all the way back in 2015 at E3. I remember exactly what I was doing at that time as well. It was way before I was doing YouTube and things like that, but I remember I watched it and I saw the first trailer and I was like, oh my gosh, this is finally happening, like this is insane. But there was a lot of talk that maybe they started talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake just a little bit too early because we didn't really hear much after that and it left people kind of speculating, is this even gonna happen? But with 9 months to wait, only 9 months left to wait, let's go ahead and talk about some of the features of Final Fantasy VII Remake. The first thing I want to talk about is the new battle system. Oh my gosh, get hyped. The original Final Fantasy VII had a very traditional active time battle where you wait for your character's turn and then choose your attack. You had a party of 3, but depending on where you are in the game, you sometimes did have to fight alone. At E3 2019, Square Enix gave us the first look at what we can expect in the remake in regards to the battle system. They're going for a more hack and slash approach. You can press square to slash away at the enemies in real time, which is very cool indeed. Now, the thing I like about that is that in the original game, you just had to wait for your turn and then you just kind of chose an option and then you went with it. Whereas this time you're actually pressing square to build up your ATB. So that's very cool. It kind of means that you're not just left there waiting and not doing anything. So they haven't removed the ATB and it still fills up during the course of the battle and it fills up quicker as you press square to hack and slash away. Now, as I just explained, unlike the previous games where you do nothing, Remake has it that you land attacks to fill your ATB, and then once it's filled, time stops and you can choose different moves. Like the original Final Fantasy, each character comes with their own abilities and has their own important role in battle, as demonstrated by the lovely Tifa and Barret. They also demonstrated different ways a player can approach battles, whether you like fast-paced gameplay or you like to take your time. So personally, I like fast-paced, but I think it is really nice to have the option to do both. Now, there was a little mention of the materia, and it did show a materia in the back of Cloud's sword, but we still haven't seen the main menu or anything like that. So they've not really explained too much on the materia at this stage, but we know it's in the game. That is good. I'm excited to see it, and I would like to know a little bit more about that at a later date. I'm interested to know how you guys feel about the new battle system. Ultimately, Final Fantasy VII, it was quite slow-paced in that respect. You still had to be on the ball, but it was a lot slower. But what we have seen from the Square Enix conference this year is that it gets a little bit hectic at times, and I would like to know how you guys feel about that. But for me personally, I'm actually in love with the battle system and I cannot wait to play it. This next one might seem like a really strange one, but if you grew up with the original Final Fantasy games like I did, you will appreciate voice acting in the games. And I know it seems like such a silly thing, but the original games didn't have voice acting, so you know. The first Final Fantasy games I played didn't even have voice acting, and then Final Fantasy X came along and it completely changed that. I remember how blown away I was watching a trailer for Final Fantasy X and hearing Tidus speak for the first time. So while we've had Final Fantasy movies, and we've had other games like Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, just the thought of playing Final Fantasy VII with actual voice actors and actresses, it gets me incredibly excited. There are so many scenes that I won't spoil for you just in case you haven't played the game, but I cannot wait to watch them with this crazy emotion that I know is going to come through. It's going to be epic. The third thing that I am super excited about, exploring Midgar in beautiful HD. Now, I'm not one for ever writing off a game if the graphics are not top-notch, but let me just say how excited I am to actually run around Midgar when it looks like this. There's a lot of rumors going about what sections of the game we will actually be playing when it drops next March, but based on what we have seen, I think we could potentially finish this first game maybe after the calm section where you have the flashback with Cloud and Sephiroth. I'm just going by what I've actually seen at E3 this year, but I think that's maybe where the game is going to finish up. I can't wait to explore what Final Fantasy VII has to offer, and just seeing my favorite places re-rendered in stunning HD, it is going to blow me away for sure. I just know it is. Don't get me wrong, I will forever love pixels. I really will in the original Final Fantasy VII, but I'm not going to complain when I'm playing Remake. The next thing I am super excited about is the music in Remake. So I recently attended Distant Worlds in London for the very first time. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's an orchestra that plays Final Fantasy music, and honestly, if you are as big a Final Fantasy fan as I am, you need to see this. It is amazing, honestly. So whenever Square Enix remakes or remasters a game, they always tend to give us like the option of the improved music or the original. For example, when Final Fantasy X came to PS4, they had this orchestrated music, and it was the same when Final Fantasy XII came to the PS4 as well. So I just can't wait to hear some of the new updated music when I'm fighting the bosses and I'm running around Midgar. It's gonna be amazing. So the fifth and the final thing that I am super excited about, the size of this game. So they confirmed that this will be the first of many Final Fantasy VII Remake games just because it is so big. Oh my gosh. They actually said that the first Midgar game section, episode, whatever you want to call it, is going to stretch over 2 Blu-ray discs. That is insane. And they also mentioned about how they are expanding the story of Midgar. So I can only imagine the amount of new content that we are going to get in this game. It's going to be crazy. And as a super fan, this just makes me hugely excited. And I really do hope to be playing this game for months, you know, long after it has come out. Just trying to find new secrets, new areas. I mean, who knows, we might get some new bosses as well and things like that. So yeah, just knowing how big the game is going to be, you know that you're getting your money's worth. Hey, listen, I could sit here all day and talk about Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is my all-time favorite franchise in the world, and Dragon Quest is slowly but surely coming up to that as well. So I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts, your honest thoughts about Final Fantasy VII Remake? And do you agree with my points about the things I'm excited for? Do you have some concerns that you're really not too sure about? Leave them in the comment section. We can have a little discussion amongst ourselves. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like. And if you're new around here, why not consider subscribing? I do videos like this, reactions, gameplay, you name it, I do it, as long as it's not dodgy. I don't do dodgy stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I cannot wait for next March. It cannot come soon enough. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.